Hi Josh. Hi Jimmy. Having a lot of trouble with the signal tonight. If you do get the spinning wheel at times, it's worth just refreshing your page. I've just started this computer in the office, so maybe it's on a bit of a slow. Good morning, Andy. How you doing? And Bruno. Hola. Okay, so how's everybody doing? So that was a bit frustrating. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, doing well. GMCD86, how you doing? So I had a look at the no, I don't speak Portuguese, sorry. Olá. I had a look at the, I don't think the stem was actually the issue. Hey Rich, the stem itself wouldn't have been the issue. I think the issue was something doesn't quite make sense. And the only thing I can think of is that when I drilled the mortise, that the chuck, the drill chuck, which was holding the drill bit, was possibly not fully in the tailstock. But even that shouldn't have happened because it would have wobbled around if that was the case. But you know, these things happen. Absolutely, Tam. That's just the way it goes. Hi, Oki. These things do happen from time to time, and there's really, it's all part and parcel of learning, and the learning curve. Thankfully, it's few and far between, but it does happen. What didn't make sense to me is that usually when you're on a straight axis, this is my new Northern Briars pipe. When you're on a straight axis, when you're turning, so although this is spinning around, so this is going to look very all over the place, but this end here should be completely straight. And when you turn it, it should turn a completely perfect circle without mortise being dead center. And for some reason, there was a bit of a wobble effect. A bit like the, what do you call it on the sun? It's got a little wobble effect, there's a word for it. But that's what was going on here. There was a little bit of a wobble there. And that was wrong. There's no way that should be happening. So I tried repositioning it, but it's a nightmare to reposition on a lathe. So there was no point just keeping on at it. So I just knocked it on the head. And because I haven't drilled the draft hole, what I can do in the future is I can cut it off at the end of the mortise, the 9mm mortise. Not spiral. There's a word for the effect that the universe has a slight wobble to it. The gravitational pull has a slight not oscillation. In the gravitational, everything in the universe turns, well, around, everything that goes in orbit around the sun turns on an axis. The Doppler effect, that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure it's called the Doppler effect. Probably discovered by some guy called Doppler. But there's a slight wobble. So if you, for instance, have what's supposed to be the location of the North Star, which everybody calls the North Star because it's at the apex when you look up, but it's actually not. And it's slightly off, and it actually goes like that, as opposed to spinning on its axes. So if you're looking upright, straight up, you'd think that the North Star would be at the top there, and the world would be spinning on its axes, or the universe rather. But it doesn't. It spins a little bit like that. So the North Star is ever so slightly off center. And I'm pretty sure it's called the Doppler effect. I might be wrong, but I think it's called Doppler effect. I used to be quite a bit into astronomy a while back. Used to have telescopes and binoculars, and gone past that now. I've kept my binoculars. I do look up every so often. Always take them with me on vacation. Got darker skies usually in the countryside. Kids get fascinated by it. Yeah, so what I'm going to do with that particular pipe is the mortise is going to be around there, for instance. I will cut the pipe around there, and I will just treat it as if it's a fresh block of briar. Ignore what's already been turned. The only thing that I can think of is that because usually I cut out the shape, and this time I didn't. So I was turning a lot of briar, and because it was heavy going, it could be that I pushed it off slightly, even though I tightened it very, very tight. It's very possible that because it was turning, there was really heavy pressure going in. It could be that I knocked it off its axis very slightly. I think that must be what's happened. It wasn't the stem. The stem wasn't the issue. I checked that. So I just need to remember in future, another lesson learned. Take off as much briar on the bandsaw as you can. I usually do that. I don't know why I didn't tonight. Every day is a school day, 100%. So this one is the one I did on Thursday. This is a magnum-sized pipe. I've been looking at this pipe, I got quite mixed responses on this pipe. And I've been looking at this pipe so much. I've been handling it, fondling it, if you like. And I've had mixed responses to it, but I'm actually in love with this pipe, really am. The balance on it, I was really worried about it, and the balance on it is superb. You've got no idea. It's very hard to kind of sort of translate that over the internet, but the balance of this pipe, considering its size, is phenomenal. It's such a beautiful pipe to hold. This kind of thing here gives you a fantastic grip, and it's. I'm not just trying to blow my own trumpet. It's because this was the first Magnum pipe that I've done, and it's a very unique shape. It's a shape which is after the IPCR 2019 Castello pipe, but it's not. It's inspired by it, but it's not the same. I've had quite a few people expressing an interest, but no. And I can't decide, even if nobody does buy it, whether to smoke it or whether to keep it as a like a collection piece to show my journey, so to speak. A lot of pipe companies, they have a cabinet, for instance, in their showroom to show some special pieces, and I'm thinking maybe this could be one of them. And it's something which I could refine, obviously. I'm probably, in the time that I've spent looking at it, I'm probably going to rusticate this whole base. The grain on it is nothing to write home about anyway. So I'm probably going to just rusticate that whole thing there. Something which I discovered, almost by accident, was this scalloping, which I really like, which I think I'm going to use on a pipe. I'm thinking of actually making a pipe which is completely covered in this texture, this scalloping texture, and I want to see what it looks like. It really, really came out fantastic. At least I like it. Not everybody's going to have the same taste. And the idea was to lead the eye into this region here and then go around. So I carried on the scalloping up here, but obviously smaller, and then it leads around into this rocky kind of area. You've got a bit of the plateau on the top, and then a smooth area there. And I've given it a bowl coating. I gave it the bowl coating because there was nothing, because you've got this area which goes into the bowl, there's kind of an undefined line where the bowl's, and in case anybody was worried about whether there was any flaws, I took pictures of it before I did the bowl coating, so whoever doesn't, spot on. A nice bowl coating. This, I couldn't be happier with the way the stem worked out. It's exactly right. It's perfect. A longer stem or anything like that would have just not looked right. Drilling spot on. Yeah, the texture on the dragon's skin. You mean the scaling? Yeah, I could see that. And this is what we're going to smoke. Again, this is my new Northern Briars Lovat. Over the moon with it. It's a beautiful pipe. Now this pipe here is for myself. I've smoked it already a few times, and I've got somebody who actually wants to buy it, and I've said that I'll sell it, even though I really love the pipe. You know, the same. And the grain is always going to be different. But at the end of the day, I'm here to sell pipes. So, hey, Dance Dad Piper, how you with it? Really am. So this is what's left of my Blender 131, which I've been consuming at a rate of knots. Thank you, Vision. How are you doing? I think I'm going to fill this bowl, even though I don't usually, but I really enjoy this tobacco. This Agape custom leather is very, very well used, as you can see, but they're fantastic. I think if I bought a new one, I'd be scared to use it, because they're much more pretty nowadays, his leather trays. I bought this when he first started out, and I've got one in the garage and one here. And I think they're about 2.5 or 3 times the money now as well. But they're so beautifully done, I just would be scared to use it. This one, I cut tobacco on it, I do everything with it. You can see it's a bit war-torn. Ian Walker did a great job, and there's 2 sizes. I think he does one at 50 and one at 70, so you're both right, I think. Or the ones with the pipe bit on the side. I got an email from Ian saying that he thanking me for putting it on my channel, because he's had 3 orders for the same pipe since then. And I've actually put in another order for another pipe straight away, and I'll be building a 7-day set, all of the same design. Not the same shape, but the same design. So it'll have the same staining, the same band, the same stem. I did that once before with him, with the smooth pipes, but they weren't 9mm, so I had to end up selling them. And I've only got this one left from that set, because the shank was wide enough to re-drill for 9mm. This is the Quebec. I'd never have believed that I'd get so enamored with an aromatic tobacco, with burley in it as well. I'll just let that char light go. Oh, right, that's nice. Dance Dad, cool. Nice one, Rich. Josh Pipegrump is well on his way. I think he's got 4 or 5 by now. And I've got a couple of customers who have already got more than a pipe set, more than a 7-day set, so that's really cool. How many pipes have I made in total? My next pipe will be 119, I think, 119. Actually, I think this one might be... No, this is 118. So the next one will be 119. Tonight's pipe, which failed, would have been 119. You've got 4 of 7, okay, cool. Josh, for that square shank. I'll have to crack another tin of this. Any of you tried this tobacco? Solani 131? I'll put out an offer which is a slight variation on an offer that I've given somebody in the past. Now, anybody that buys a 7-day set from me, that builds up a 7-day set, on pipe 7, I will give that to them half price. So it's a slight variation from an offer. I think that's a pretty good offer. So the 7th pipe, 50%. I think I'll make that a policy because I've got a website which is currently being built. It's being done in a slow kind of fashion, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take till it's actually up and running. But I'll probably put it on there so that it's a known policy. Virginia Perique, well, I went through a really strong phase of vapors, and I still enjoy them a lot. I've got that GQ Tobaccos Asquith mixture, which is melding nicely in a jar somewhere. We made that a few months ago. We did that live on the London Calling. But I'll tell you something. Where is that? This is the Cornell and Diehl 20th anniversary Flake Dark. Now this one was this is a Virginia Perique. And I think it has some Orientals as well. The light version, which is this one here, which Mike sent me, Briar Blues, to try. I haven't really got my head around it yet. I haven't tried it enough. I smoked this, as I've been saying all the time, since I had the coronavirus, which I assume is the coronavirus because I haven't been tested. But my taste has slowly been coming back. It completely disappeared while I had the virus. My taste and smell completely went. My smell has come back more than my smell, my sense of smell. And smoked this on Friday. It tastes like a Lakeland to me. It really. Has anybody else? It seems to be okay now. What's going on with my Wi-Fi today? I don't know if you can hear me now. I'm running on 4G, so hopefully it's still transmitting. But I've reset the router, and hopefully it will give me a better signal. All right, I hope you guys can hear me now. You're right, Tam, I should boot the router. I'm running it actually off a hotspot from my other phone on 4G. I don't know what's happening with the router, it's not rebooting. All right, looks like the booter has rooted. The router has booted. I'm going to leave it as long as it goes now with the hotspot. My other phone is usually quite reliable, so if it works, it works. I've got a pretty decent data package on there, so that should be fine. So as long as we're good, we're good. Hi Daniel, how are you? The reporters in the UK, well, reporting, I don't know if there's bias or not, who knows. But in the situation that we find ourselves, I just don't believe that people are being deliberately negligent in the way they're handling the whole lockdown situation. I don't think anybody is as callous as that. They might not do it in the best possible way, but it's not intentional, that's for sure. And at the end of the day, any leader of a country is working on advice given. The new phone, Daniel, is very good. The picture that you're seeing now should be better than it has been in the past. It's got a good camera. The microphone should be better. Hopefully you're hearing me loud and clear. So it's pretty good. So I smoked this party, and something went weird. I don't know. Which question was that, Daniel? Right, I'm going to go back to Wi-Fi, see if it's okay. Hang on. All right, so we're back on Wi-Fi. Hopefully it's going to behave itself now. A tortoise stem on that pipe. Yeah, that would work from a color perspective, but I didn't have a stem of those same proportions that I could use. Peter Heinrich tobacco over here. Not sure. would, as a guess, I would say that no, but you could buy it from Europe. You could buy it from Germany. I'm pretty sure that online places in America do it. Yeah, Daniel, I think Josh or somebody answered that question before on my behalf. I've used different coloured stems. I've used blue, I've used red, I've used yellow. But I find myself veering towards the traditional. I did a lot of experimentation in the early pipes that I did, but I really find myself really veering towards traditional kind of look. Although the shapes that I explore can be quite radical, but the makeup of the pipe, the stem material, that kind of thing, the stem, any adornments, that kind of thing, I find myself more leaning towards traditional rather than wacky. Yeah, Rich, because that was one of the ones which I used the coloured. I think you've got a blue stem on that one. It's actually a very nice. It's got a nice little white swirl in that as well. I think, which lines up very well, if I remember correctly. Have I already sent you that one? Oh no, you've got the maroon one that's right here. What am I talking about? You told me to hang on to it. You've got this one here. So that's a nice sort of red maroon with a beautiful swirl in it. And this is a pipe which I restained for Rich. It's got a beautiful golden glow to it. And I also did a little bit more on the plateau to make that contrast a little bit with that. Turned out really nice. Yeah, they do look a bit obscene, Josh. Yeah, Daniel, I mean, could certainly do that, but as I say, that's probably not me. As I say, I'm more of a traditional kind of. I think I'm quite true to the UK in that respect, to the English pipe makers, which are really quite traditional, and that seems to be in my DNA when it comes to pipe making. When you said PH, did you mean GH, Gareth Hogarth? Josh? Oh, Peter Heinrich. Because they've got some curly ropes which are also quite obscene looking. It reminds you of a certain emoji. This looks quite compact, but it's actually quite deceptive. It's quite a handful, this pipe. It's a Group 4 bowl, and I've got the list of measurements somewhere, what makes a Group 3, Group 4. I haven't got it in my head yet, but it's a nice pipe, this, really nice. How does my pipe compare to an American carver's pipe? I don't know if I could make a comparison between English and American, although there probably are some universals between them. It's just a matter of comparing one carver to another. It doesn't matter which country. Is there something in particular about this tobacco, Josh or Meeks, that makes it special and pricey? It's a vapor, okay. No shortage of vapors on the market. Is there a new tobacco that surprised me? Yeah, the one that I'm smoking now. I'm smoking the Solani Blend 131, which is a Virginia Burley with a malt whiskey topping, and I've really got to like it. I'm having 1 or 2 bowls a day of this stuff. Even if I'm having other tobacco, I tend to have at least 1 or 2 of these at the moment. And I'm very quickly come to the end of my first tin, which is quite rare for me. I'm such a sort of all over the place kind of smoker. I like to smoke a good variety of different tobaccos, so I've got loads of different tins open. But it's very rare for me to take a new tin that I haven't tried before and actually get to the bottom of the tin in that kind of time. And it's a good indication of how much I'm enjoying this tobacco. Is Solani reasonably easy to get in the States? I think I saw Brian Jacobs earlier on. So hi Brian, if I missed you. There you go. It looks like it's back on firing all cylinders. Thank you very much, Brian, if you're still on. Hope you're well. Of which one, Meeks? Of the Peter Heinrich? I think Boswell's have actually upped their game in terms of the selection of tobacco. I mean, it could be that in the shops they had that selection, but didn't always put it online. But they've got a really good selection of tobacco now. I have shown some of my pipes to JJ Foxes. We did have a little chat about it, but I didn't pursue it in any kind of way that would... I don't think I could make pipes fast enough or to build up enough of a stock for them to have a range of pipes. There's no point in me taking 2 or 3 pipes there. If I was to give them a selection, they'd need probably maybe 20 or 30 pipes. And thank God the pipes are selling, well enough that when I make them, most of them sell. Not all, but most of them sell. I've got the same problem with GQ Tobaccos. GQ Tobaccos wants to carry my pipes. They've asked me to send them a bunch of pipes. So I know that GQ, and I would probably first go to GQ because they're online. JJ Foxes, although they're online, but they're not really an online. They're not geared up to be an online retailer, and they're not geared up for pipes and pipe tobacco. Although they have a reasonable range, they're all about cigars. So for me, GQ is a much better option. I know Sam well enough, so I'm looking at trying to build up enough of an inventory to send them so they can stock the pipes. Hey Hollywood, how you doing? Hollywood. Journeys. Yeah, Mike probably would if I asked him. I'm not sure yet. It's not an easy question to answer, Journeys. Just off the cuff. It really depends what you're smoking, what pipe you have, what tobacco you have, how you smoke it, how you pack it, how you prepare the tobacco. There's so many equations to take into account. You'd be far better off going into a tobacco shop, a pipe shop, and ask them to show you how to load the tobacco, or go to a pipe club, or find somebody online that lives near to you and sit down with somebody who has experience. Whatever we tell you won't be anywhere near somebody giving you first-hand advice. Yes, Hollywood, that pipe is inspired by the IPCR. Hi, Chad. The IPCR pipe from 2019. It's inspired by it. It's not the same as it. It's a magnum-sized pipe. It's a large pipe. My first Magnum. Sterling silver ring, Cumberland acrylic stem, really nice tight grain. It's a different beast to the Castello. The Castello is not designed to be a Magnum pipe. So this has got a much bigger base to it. It's actually extremely well balanced. I was saying this earlier on. It's fantastically well balanced. I know I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but you wouldn't expect a pipe this large to be as well balanced as it is, but it is very well balanced. I think there's a more of a carved aspect to this one compared to the Castello. The Castello is you've got the straight bit there, and the rest is like a rounded base, and it's rusticated with the Sea Rock rustication. It hasn't got any of this carving and shaping to it, and the scalloping. I spent quite a lot of time doing that. So it's horses for courses. It's a matter of what you like. What stem material do you enjoy working with the most when you hand cut your stems? Lucite or ebonite or vulcanite? Well, the ones which I've tried the most has been the ebonite Cumberland stems, and they're pretty good to work with. They're quite soft and easy to shape. Thanks, Meeks. Yeah, it worked out well. It's difficult to say, Journeys. It shouldn't be clogged. Do you inhale it for a start? Do you inhale the smoke from the pipe? Or have you been inhaling it? Hey, extra pint. Hey, Ben. Yeah, most of the time they are they're pressed stems. But Daniel was asking specifically about hand-cut ones, which I do from time to time. Yeah, I got that question from you earlier, Daniel, and I did answer it. That I don't do screw-in type stems. It's, I think that's more of a style or a design idea from the 50s and 60s or before that. They used to have a stinger inside them. I don't know if any companies still do screw-in stems. I doubt it. You know, you had those mostly in things like K Woodies and that kind of thing. Hey Phil, how you doing? So I don't know really, Journeys. It's very hard to answer that. You really ought to, as I say, first-hand, ideally, because there's a process. So if you or go online and watch, or on YouTube and watch people how to pack a pipe. I think Ben has done them a series on how to smoke a pipe, Unicorn Piper. Check out his channel, and there's plenty of people who have done tutorials on how to pack a pipe. Follow that, and you know, spend a bit more time drying out your tobacco, and see how you get on. Joby still does a screw-in one, okay. Yeah, no worries, Daniel, not a problem at all. How you doing, Philip? You deleted them all? Oh my gosh. Hey Tree, how are you? How's Oxford? You pooped. Has my pipe arrived yet, Phil? Aromatics, yeah. I think most people always start with aromatics. Aromatics can be the root of your problem. What I would suggest, I'm not the world's biggest expert, but what I would suggest, I don't know if you like smoky flavored tobacco, like Latakia based tobaccos, but you might want to try that just to see how you go, because that tends to smoke cooler. Aromatic tobacco will often have other additives which will exacerbate the problem. I've got the ticket. I'll check it, Phil, and see where it's up to. Let's have a look and see if I've got the ticket handy. Here we go, right there. If you want to talk about a master of carving, talk to Phil Rivara. I'm not a master of carving, that's for sure. I'm learning every single day. I've got a long way to go before I'd be called a master carving, that's for sure. So at the moment, Phil, it says that it has processed through our facility at Miami. That was on the 18th of April, so that's quite a while ago. Yeah, the latest entry is the 18th of April in Miami, and it's with USPS at the moment. The tins in the background, the Trout Stream, that's that one in the corner, that's a sealed tin. The Borkum Riff Whiskey is a sealed tin. The old Orlick Golden Sliced is a sealed tin. The Erinmore, I think, is a empty tin. Yeah, that one is one I've got in a jar. And the 40th, that one happens to be an empty tin, but I've got other full ones. And the half and half is about half and half. It's about half empty. Well, Daniel, I would hang on. If you're not sure, don't throw your money at it. Just keep smoking what you've got and seeing what you like. Or if you want to treat yourself to a pipe, there's two ways you can go. Don't spend too much money, so in case it's not the best thing in the world, you haven't spent too much money. Or spend a decent amount of money with a carver that you trust. Somebody like Phil. And in the States, you've got no shortage of phenomenal carvers. I think the States are now leading the world when it comes to precision and creative designs. There's hundreds, literally, there must be hundreds of carvers in the States. And of course, you're welcome to order one from me. But, seriously, if you want to, no shortage. Moretti, yeah, is another great shout. Northern Briars, Ian Walker. This pipe, I just got this on Friday. It's a phenomenal pipe, and its prices are superb. Blakemore Briars is an absolute steal. You can buy fantastic pipes, solid, traditional-looking pipes, but they're solid. You could buy a fantastic pipe there for 40, 50, 60 pounds. And they will do a 9mm for you as well. So a lot of that, in terms of the draft hole, there you go. Phil does 9mm too. He's done for me, so he definitely does 9mm. In terms of the draft hole, I pretty much stick to the same draft hole size all the time. I do a 4mm draft. Some people do a 3.2, some people do 4.3, that kind of thing, but I've done 4 for a long time. I started off doing 3 point something. I don't remember what it was, maybe 3.5, 3.6, but I went up to 4mm quite early on, and I've stuck with that. In terms of the bowl size, I generally vary between 18mm diameter and 20mm diameter. Occasionally I'll go wider. So this one, because it's a Magnum pipe, because it's a large pipe, this one I did 22mm, I think I did on this one. But generally speaking, it'll be either 18 or 20, depending on the size of the walls, depending on the briar block to start with. If it's not a rude question, Daniel, have you got a budget in mind? Because that will also help you decide where you want to go. People have different sort of price ranges. Absolutely, Jason. Used to be called the Bayou Guru, now calls himself just Jason Mouton. $300 will get you a lot of pipe. The best advice I'm going to give you, Daniel, is speak to Mike. He'll help you out. He'll sort you out. Speak to Mike at Briar Blues. He's absolutely sterling when it comes to service, old-fashioned service, honest as the day is long. Speak to Mike at Briar Blues. He'll sort you out. You want somebody that you can trust, that is going to give you good advice. Just speak to him. You might be talking about this one, Ben, or this one. They're quite similar, except this one sort of continues up into an egg shape. So that one or that one, I assume you're talking about. This one is executed much better than that one. This one I made for myself, so I didn't spend too long on it, but it's a good template to really perfect it. It's a really nice shape, this. Nice long sleek stem. Marty Pulvers there, yeah, absolutely. This one here is already sold, this one, but I haven't sent it off yet. I'm not going to the post office regularly at the moment, but this one did work out really nice. Got some nice grain, like a faded in look to it. Nice thick walls, nice bird's eye on the rim, and it did come out really, really well. And what I've said many times, Daniel, about that is that if you have a 9mm pipe That's probably one of the reasons why I went up to 4mm. But I don't find personally that 9mm creates much of a restriction. Some people do find that it does, especially if they've been smoking non-filtered pipes for a long time and then go to a filtered pipe. Then yes, they'll feel the difference, of course. But what I do is I just adjust the way I pack the tobacco. So there's a few sort of equations here. There's the filter itself, there's the draft hole, and then there's the way you pack your tobacco. So you can use all of those you can adjust all of those to get the draw that you want. So for me, the 4mm draft, having the filter in and packing the tobacco a little bit lighter, if you need that, if you find it's a bit tight, generally you find your balance in how you want the draw to be. But I actually don't find, in fact, if I went to a non-filtered pipe now, I'd probably find it to be too open. For me, they say that it should feel, when you pack your pipe, it should feel like you're drinking liquid through a straw, that kind of thing. So there's a bit of resistance, but not too much. It's the same when you smoke a cigar. You don't want a cigar to be absolutely wide open, so you have no feeling when you draw. And at the same time, you don't want it to be tight, because if it's tight, it's going to heat the cigar up. It's going to wreck the flavor. You're not going to enjoy it. So you need to find that balance, and you learn that to pack the pipe the way you like it to get the draw that you like, and you can adjust that as you go along. As you're packing your pipe, bring it to your mouth, test the draw, and either go heavier or lighter. I change mine every smoke pretty much. I would say 99.9% of the time. Sometimes in the garage I'll want to light up a pipe, and I either haven't got filters with me or I've only got a couple left in the drawer, so I'll just use what's in there. Yeah, Josh, I'd probably do that as well, unless it's a different type of tobacco. I think most of the filters are pretty good. I can only talk about the ones that I use, and that's the Dr. Pearl. These are the ones I use, and they're great. They come in a box of 180. You can get smaller amounts. You can get 10, 40, I think 100. But if you're changing them every time, you need to go with the. I might have tried them once. Ben will probably answer this better than me, if he's patriotic. But I got this sent to me a while back. And it was gifted to me from a guy in Canada. I think it was Cal Delta Piper, if I'm not mistaken. So this apparently is a very well-known Canadian brand of coffee. And he sent me this Brigham pipe. I don't remember if I've tried it yet or not. And he sent me there's a few of the wooden filters in here. They've obviously invested quite a bit of effort into designing this. It's getting these made with a metal cap on them. So that comes out there. I've already tried putting one in. You got the little stinger type filter type thing there, and that's that. It looks like it's been cleaned out and reamed out. I have to say it does smell a little bit Lakelandy, which is maybe why, if I haven't smoked it, that's probably the reason. It looks very well drilled, very good positioning on the draft hole. Yeah, it might be time to try that, who knows. And he sent me some coffee as well. I think I have tried the coffee. Have you got an affinity for Brigham pipes, Phil, for any particular reason? Oh, right, so you can still get a pipe cleaner through that wooden thing. I haven't tried that. That is good. Question is, does it filter enough out to stop things like tongue bite and things like that, which I've been suffering with? Yeah, look at that. Straight through. I might have to give that a try. That's a good tip, Ben. That's probably the biggest downside with filters, is that you can't run a pipe cleaner through it. But on the other hand, the upside is that the filter tends to filter out most of the moisture, so you don't get a gurgle anyway. But sometimes you do, and there's not much you can do about it. Do you have a big collection of pipes, Phil, from other people? That coffee was quite nice, if I remember. It really reminded me of a good quality instant coffee that we have here, which is Nescafe. I don't know if you got it worldwide. Probably you have, actually. But Nescafe is a great coffee for an instant, and it tasted quite similar. So what shape do you tend to go for, Phil? Classic billiard type? Or are you all over the place? And Daniel, for me, the difference between a straight and a bent pipe is comfort. And yeah, as Phil just says, you will tend to get a little bit of a reservoir of moisture at the bottom of the bend, which gets agitated as you draw, and that's what you get. That's your gurgle. And they are notoriously hard to find, at least from a factory pipe, to find bent pipes which are drilled well. Let's have a look at this one. I haven't smoked this one yet. I don't know if you can see that. You see that? So the guys had to carve it out in order to get a reasonable draft there. So it's a little bit all over the place. And I must be honest, it's got quite a tight draw as a result. I have considered sending it back, because I haven't smoked it yet. But I really do like the shape. It's quite a lightweight small pipe. It's probably a group somewhere between a 2 and a 3. It's a lovely Danish kind of style pipe to it. But yeah, I'm not sure if I should hold on to it or not. Well, I can't say I'm not that experienced in making pipes, but for me, I find that making full bent pipes is a challenge to drill, and to get enough, to be able to drill it at an angle enough so that you leave enough briar underneath the bottom of the bowl. And also because you're limited how much you can turn on the lathe with a full bent pipe sometimes, depending on the length of your shank and so on. Cheers, Ben. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, this one, you know, it could have been, the mortise could have been done there and then slightly adjusted. 100%. I'm not going to go into the brand, it wouldn't be fair, but so I do need to think about whether I keep that or not. We'll see. How does Peterson Pipes make their system pipes not to gurgle? They don't, not in my experience. They gurgle like a kettle. You've heard my opinion on Peterson pipes before. I'm very, very, very unimpressed with Peterson. They've got such a fantastic reputation in the States, a big following, presumably because of the Irish connection, but every time I try to get a Peterson pipe, I'm always disappointed. Hey, Mike. It's definitely iconic, I get that, but at the end of the day, you want a pipe that you can enjoy. This is a rough idea. It looks like a body part, but basically the Peterson design, obviously the bottom of the bolt should be there. Forget that. You got your draft hole there, and they have a little bit that shoots off the side, beneath it rather. So it's probably more further down, but as you draw and the moisture comes up, it drips down there and goes into that little reservoir there. That's the concept anyway. Shibo, how you doing? Yeah, Stanwell, again, another iconic brand. Going to Italy, 100%, that's a shame. You know, a Danish brand to go to Italy. I mean, the truth of the matter is, we're not anyone to speak because Dunhill, several times in their history, I've had their bowls made in France. At least twice anyway, if not 3 times. I don't think Stanwells have been for decades. Maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 years. I don't think more than that. I don't think Petersons have been for decades either. Well, estate pipes are a bit of a... I've had pretty good success with estate pipes, but the risk is always for me, number one, you don't know the condition that the internals are going to be when you get them. But for me, the biggest risk is what's been smoked in it. A pipe which has had Latakia or Lakeland smoked in it, for me, is very difficult to smoke. Again, I find it really hard. So if I'll end up with a pipe which has got Lakeland in it, I'll usually just resell it. Lakeland isn't, Latakia is not as bad, although I smoke Latakias myself, but I just don't like the ghosting of a Latakia pipe, unless I'm smoking it myself. I don't know if that's just a dislike to, I don't know, I can't actually explain it, because if I'm smoking it myself and I have pipes myself which are estate pipes, by the fact that I've smoked them, it should really be the same. But I don't like Latakia estate pipes, and I certainly don't like Lakeland Latakia estate pipes. I mean, if I wasn't on 9 mils, I'd have a much broader range of pipes. There's nothing embarrassing to say that your favorite pipe is in Europe. I did see Eddie say something about Peterson in one of his emails recently. I didn't read it fully. Oh my gosh. I assume it was an army mount, Hollywood. Beer up, yeah. Yeah, we got that, Phil. The Neerups, and also if you go to the Danish pipe shop, I find that a very good pricing is Paul Winslow. They got very good pricing. I don't particularly like the Briar myself. I've had some of them. I find them quite heavy, but they're fantastically priced. Although he's got some now on the Danish pipe shop, 33 grams, so that's really light. And they're new at 120 euros. They're a good price. Oh yeah, definitely. In America, 9mm is almost spat at, looked upon with disdain. Although I think there's a growing market, which I'm happy to fill. Cup of tea. Talking of which, nice English cup of tea. Can't be beat. Yeah, speaking of which, in terms of the globalization of the pipe community, I find it interesting that you have some of the very well-known pipe characters in the States who do the whole pipe show circuit, who are totally alien to the whole YouTube, to the YTPC, the whole YouTube pipe smoking community. The Pipe Collector magazine is full of people, regulars, who have been at this game for decades, but they're completely not active on YouTube, which to me seems like they're missing out on something. Possibly a huge customer base. Do you ever go to shows, Phil? I mean, the show culture in the States is very healthy. I wish there'd be some sort of culture of it here, but there's just not enough customers. Right. I get the Pipe Collector magazine, which I love reading, and it's a shame that the Pipe and Tobacco magazine went by the wayside. But that was more of a glossy kind of magazine, probably harder to keep afloat. But the Pipe Collector one is more of a hobby, kind of sort of put together by people who are part of that hobby, and there's no real charge for it. To be an online subscriber, it's like $10 a year. It's nothing. But in those, when you get, I think they do it 4 times a year, and it's just great to see the camaraderie between people at the shows. They see each other maybe half a dozen times a year on the show circuit. There's quite a lot of shows there. I can understand that, Phil. Yeah. We only have one show here, which is the Nottingham Pipe Show, and it takes me a couple of hours to get there, and I find it's over too quickly. I'm always trying to get a film done for the channel, and people love seeing those kind of videos on YouTube, and that takes most of my time. So by the time I've done that, I sit down maybe for half an hour or so and have a pipe with some friends, and that's it, it's done. And then they have the raffle, which takes another half an hour at the end, and that's the end of the show. It's why I'm in two minds about whether I take a table at the next one. It's been cancelled for now due to the virus. Thanks, Conrad. Um, it's been cancelled for now. Looking at doing it later on in the year, hopefully. It was supposed to happen towards the end of this month. So I hope it does get rescheduled. But I've been sort of humming and hawing on either side of whether I should take a table or not take a table. If I took a table, then that's it. That's my show. You know, I can't go outside and smoke. I can't leave everything sitting there unless I do it with somebody else. So we take turns. And I'm sure people there would look after my table, but it's not the same. No, there's zero superstar egos in the London, in the UK shows. No, they're very, very, very traditional English people. There are no egos at all. It's not the same though, Conrad. I don't know if that's your first name or surname, so I'm not being offensive by calling you Conrad, but I don't know your first name, if that's not your first name. Yeah, absolutely, Phil. You know, you can take a few minutes break, but you can't be running around. This tobacco is good stuff. If you like, if any of you guys like McClelland's Frogmorton Cellar, and I know that it's got a huge fan base for good reason. Um, this stuff is a tin from 2016. If you like this has got Latakia in it, but it's got a whiskey barrel bourbon kind of topping to it, or infusion, should we say. But if you like that, and you would like to try something as good, if not better, but without the Latakia, just try this. Just try this. Take my recommendation. It's so rare that I find an aromatic tobacco of such quality. I really do highly recommend it, and I don't often do that. Brandon, how you doing? On the town. Yeah, I think I've got a 100 gram tin of that in the cellar somewhere. I must be honest, I went through a period of collecting a lot of McClelland tobaccos. I've got a box with probably maybe 30 tins, somewhere between 20 and 30 tins of McClelland tobacco. And but I'm just really enjoying the regular tobaccos that I'm buying at the moment. Hey Phil, long time no see. How you doing? Philistine, rather. And Brandon, the Palo Duro Piper. There are some of the McClelland tobaccos that I've got from the Levin days in the 1990s, before McClelland started doing the Christmas cheers. I've got a couple of those tins, and these should be really fantastic. I kind of bought them as investments rather than smoking, because it wasn't really my kind of flavour, but I might give them a go. Tree. This Solani is a whiskey. It's a single malt whiskey topping, and it's just fantastic. You really do taste the malt whiskey in there. You know, some whiskies, whiskey topped tobaccos, they're really sweet and just don't have a genuine whiskey flavour, and this does. It really does. Hey NJ, you can't buy tobacco on eBay anymore. No. You can in Germany. I think you can just about. I'm not sure if they've stopped it in Germany. You can't buy it here. You can sometimes get away with listing it as a collectible if they don't take you down after a while. Sometimes you can get away with it. Oh, you can still buy it on eBay? I thought they stopped it. I'm pretty sure that Pipe Stud had to stop, didn't he? You're not good at catching it. Okay, fine. I mean, that's, if you're lucky and you manage to catch something, great. Hey, Robert. But officially, as far as I know, you can't sell it anymore. And Pipe Stud, he's running a business, so he can't afford to mess about. That's Steve Fallon. Yeah, as I say, I'm sure you'll find, but officially they're not supposed to be selling them online, on eBay. Robert, where are you based? Which part of the world? UK, America, Canada, anywhere else? Are they listing it as hi Jacob Mills? Are they listing it as a collectible or as regular tobacco? A bit like your wordage, Phil. Your typos are working overtime. Or was that ironic? Listed as regular tobacco. Yeah, selling empty is a way that you can because you're selling it as a collectible. But I can't imagine that they're selling the gold bags as empties, surely, and they're getting away with it. I guess the amount, but isn't it all done by bots? You know, all this kind of stuff is surely done by computer, or do you think people are trawling through it to see what else people are selling? What do you pay for a gold bag these days of Penzance? It's got to on eBay. It's got to be 150 bucks, 175 bucks, surely, for Penzance or Stonehaven. Anyway, don't know about the others, but the others don't attract the same price. But the two biggies, they must be going for at least 150 bucks. No, 150. Yeah. Well, Pipe Stud sells them at around 175 bucks for Penzance and Stonehaven when he has it, and the other ones go for usually between 80 and 100 bucks. 20-year-old. I wouldn't go for that myself. Not because of the price, which is the main reason, but I wouldn't go for it anyway because Stonehaven is quite aromatic with a small a. It's got quite an essence to it, and 20 years old, that some of that's going to have worn off because the attraction of Stonehaven is that sort of wine, muscatty, champagney kind of flavour, and that's some of that's going to be lost over 20 years. I think the only tobacco really worth buying of age is going to be a heavy Virginia Ford tobacco and some Latakias. The Latakias, I personally like old Latakia because it smooths it off. I don't like the heavy, acrid, campfirey Latakias. I like the sweet, musty Balkan style of Latakia, like Special Latakia Flake, like Penzance, those kind of things. But the really heavy ones, I don't like them. So those maybe with age would be good, and possibly some Orientals. But aromatic tobacco, and although, and strictly speaking, Stonehaven is aromatic, they have flavourings to produce that flavour. So I would think after 20 years, not sure it would be great. Buckingham Bright, never heard of it. I hear a lot mentioned about Edgeworth slices. I've never tried it. I've never been meritorious enough to get some of those blue tins. But a lot of people say wonderful things about Edgeworth slices. You got any, Phil? If you got any, stick a couple of flakes in with a pipe. I didn't really enjoy half and half, although it's a classic American OTC. I did try it a few times. I tried Velvet a few times. If it's your only last two, don't send them, Phil, seriously. Well, I'll consider it a trade. I sent you something in together with the pipe when I sent it. Something that you like. Rockin' steady. How you doing? It certainly will be a rare experience, and I shall have to film that. Maybe do it on one of my London calling sessions. Captain Black, another classic. I've never really tried it. I'm assuming it's a light aromatic, no? That's all right, Phil. I'll reconstitute that a little bit. What flavour is Captain Black? Not the grape one. When can you get a prince from me? When I marry a queen. Sure, we could produce a prince. Don't let my wife hear you say that. She's a queen. In the old meaning of the word. Yeah, I was going to say 1QB4, but I wasn't sure. The prints that I made for Mike is still sitting here because I haven't been to the post office. This is a print I made for Mike. Turned out very nicely. Nice classic sleek slender shape. Absolutely, Phil. It's the only time I've done a Prince, and I said exactly those words to Mike after I finished it. It's a very, very classic-looking pipe, but it's actually to get that squat apple, but slightly longer shape. It is challenging. But it's a very, very refined-looking pipe, and it actually. I think its origins make sense. It was made for one of the princes, one of the kings, one of the King Georges, I believe, is where it originated. He wanted something refined looking, regal. Cavendish doesn't usually give flavour unless it's cased, no? Isn't Cavendish just a process of... is it with burley? Isn't it a process? Or a stoving process? Kick the bucket. Smoother Virginia, okay. But does it taste like Virginia? I'm no expert on Cavendish. I always thought it was just a carrier for casings, for flavourings. Getting towards the end of the bowl here. I'm going to smoke it right down because it's a new pipe. Scott Free, how you doing? Phil, I don't want to put you on a downer. You know, you posted recently about your friend who passed away, Ken. I don't think I've ever seen you with him beforehand, before he turned ill and that kind of thing. Was he a pipe maker or a pipe smoker, or was he a somebody in the piping world? This is a Magnum pipe which I made, Phil, as I was inspired by McClellan, by Castello. I'll find it. Right, so this was the inspiration. This is the Castello Collection Aristocratia Freehand IPCPR 2019. So obviously they're expert at it. It's not the first time they've done that shape. So it's a Sea-Rock rustication, but with a kind of a bubble effect there, like a churning effect, smoky kind of churning effect in the rustication, and obviously a very nice smooth grained bowl with some bit of a Rhodesian top there with some plateau. And I, in a recent batch of briar that I'd bought, I got an extra large, an XL, a double XL piece of briar, and I'd never had one of those size before. So I decided I'm going to make a Magnum sized pipe. So I was looking online to get inspired, and that's the one I came up with. And this is what I came up with. So because it's a Magnum, it's obviously a bigger version. That's not a Magnum sized pipe. That's a regular sized pipe, the Castello one. So this is what I ended up with. So you've got a little bit of the Rhodesian aspect of it, that you got the rings, but I didn't turn it inwards. I wanted to retain more of the plateau, but I just curved it inwards just a little bit at the top. You can see there. You can see like a gentle sort of curvature in and out there, an S-curve, a reverse S-curve. And the idea was to sort of be hanging down, a bit of a rock face kind of idea, and did some interesting scalloping here, which I really liked the way that turned out, and I think I'm going to use that as a finish on a pipe soon, and maybe, you know, across the whole pipe. I just really, you know, experimented and just went with it. and it just turned out really, really great. The balance of the pipe is awesome. The thickness of the shank, the thickness of the stem, the silver band, it just all works, and it's so comfortable to hold in the hand. It's so well balanced. As I said before, I know I'm shooting my own trumpet, but I don't always do that. You know, I often am very self-critical with my pipes, but I just love the way this feels. It feels so comfortable. I finished it with an internal coating just to make it look professional. And I took pictures of the bowl before I put the coating on, in case anybody's worried that there's some flaws in there. But it's a clean bowl. So if anybody does decide to buy it, I can show them pictures of the bowl. It was just because this is turned inwards, there was like a very undefined look to it, and you don't know where the bowl starts and the rim starts. So I just thought it would be nice to give a clean line there. A reverse SS still an S, okay. Oh, it is a Magnum as well, Hollywood, cool. With a yellow stem? No, I don't think so. Actually, I think Daniel's suggestion earlier would have worked. The tortoise shell stems would have worked pretty well, but I didn't have that size. Well, this one weighs almost 150 grams. That one, what's the weight of that one? The weight of that one is 136. Oh, so it is a Magnum. So it's, yeah, it's not far off actually in weight. That would be quite cool to see that pipe actually. It obviously hasn't sold. How much am I selling it for? I'm looking for about $275, something like that. Thanks, Daniel. All the best. It's about 5.3 ounces, Phil. Oh, I see, Josh. Maybe. I'm not sure if I've actually got. I might have just one yellow stem, not the same stems as you originally had right at the beginning. Those stems I got from a different source in Greece, and I don't use them anymore. But I might have a yellow stem. I haven't got a website set up. No, it's really done via social media. But I do have a website currently being made, so I hope to have that up soon. Hey Gilbert, how you doing? Does that price sound okay, or is it a bit ambitious, given my youth in the trade? I mean, it's more than I usually charge for my pipes, but considering the size and the general work that's gone into it. You probably could. Scot-free. Oh, that's good. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm unlikely to sell it here in the UK, but possibly in America. But as I said earlier on, right at the top of the video, if I end up holding on to this pipe, I'll be absolutely delighted. I think it's a nice piece to just sort of, even to take to shows and that kind of thing, even in a smoked condition, it's just a nice piece to be able to show your skill, show the type of thing that you can do, show the variety of pipe making that you do. Why don't I think it would sell in the UK? I'm not saying it can't sell in the UK, but I just don't find that buyers in the UK spend that kind of money. I get a lot of jip on some of the UK forums. I've spoken about this before. I don't want to knock them. Mm, absolutely, I get that quite a bit, Phil. Quite a few pipes which I don't want to sell, but I'm learning to overcome that. But that's why this one here I made for myself specifically. I set out to make it for myself. I didn't spend as much time on it, and you can see here the shank is not quite as uniform as it should be. But because it was for myself, I didn't really go crazy. But still, overall, it came out really nice, and I really enjoy smoking it. But it's actually sold now. Somebody was inquiring about it, and I can see that he sent money this evening, so I think that's sold. Whereas this one, which I made to sell, you can see that the finish is that much better. Sea Smokes, how you doing? That bowl is done, and that was a delicious bowl of tobacco. Yeah, Phil, I can understand that. I've seen that with quite a few. When I read about pipe carvers, you know, they've got certain blocks which they just sit on till they get inspired how to maximize use of that grain. I had that with this pipe. This pipe here, the weird-looking pipe, I had to do this due to the briar things that I hit on along the way, but the grain on this was just phenomenal. And I tried to get this shape, you know, with the side, but various issues along the way, as you know yourself. But still a nice pipe. And I've had offers to buy it as well, but because of the issues that I've had while I make it, I just don't feel comfortable selling it. So I'll probably either, again, it'll be a pipe which is just, you know, a pipe which shows my journey, and maybe I'll smoke it, maybe I'll leave it unsmoked, who knows. Again, it's really hard sometimes that when you're making a pipe and you come across issues with it, but there's just, you know, such good grain on it. You just have to do what you can to save it. And I spend a lot of time, you know, with the details, you know, even doing rusticating the underneath of that, and doing different sort of surfaces, different textures. So you've got like the golf ball style rustication there, but a sea rock style there, and here you've got a bit of both. So that kind of golf ball goes all the way up and around, and then around that rim there. But then on these triangles you've got the sea rock, on that triangle there you've got the sea rock, and I just tried to make it as interesting as I could. But these walls here are going to be quite thin. There's still a reasonable thickness to it. You know, there's plenty of Dunhill pipes that set out with these kind of thickness, but it's still probably, I think I measured it, I think it's still 6 or 7 millimeters, the thickness of that, something like that. But still, there were issues with it which I just didn't feel comfortable selling it. And I know it'll smoke fine and it'll be absolutely okay, but you know, your reputation, first of all, you want to be honest and you want to be transparent, and at the same time, you know, you don't want to sell a pipe which is kind of on the edge, and then something happens, and then, you know, people talk about it and it can spoil your reputation in one fell swoop. And I'm at the evolutionary stage of my craft, and I certainly don't want to risk any reputational hiccups along the way. Group 27. Yeah, a lot of people, for them, make a pipe. It's there to be smoked. But I'm kind of on the fence there. You know, I have some pipes in my collection which I don't even call it a collection. It's more a rotation. The pipes, the amount of pipes that I've got which I don't smoke, and I would call collectible, is maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 pipes. And in terms of the pipes that I smoke, I've probably got around 20 to 25 pipes. The rest, they go in and out of eBay and video sales and that kind of thing. And I'm long overdue to do a sale on YouTube of pipes. But now the collectible ones that I've got are some which I've fallen in love with but don't smoke for whatever reason. And some of them are club pipes. So, for instance, I've got 3 or 4 Pipe Club of London pipes. The only one that I've smoked is the Meerschaum. The rest I haven't smoked. The latest one, the 50th anniversary pipe, which is a beautiful Sir Jacopo pipe, I haven't smoked. The one, it was another Sir Jacopo from a couple of years before that, I haven't smoked. There was a Peterson one from either 15 or 16, which I haven't smoked. I got 2 of the 60th anniversary Northern Briars from Ian Walker. He only produced 60 of them, and I managed to get 2, and I haven't smoked those either, which is a bit silly, but it's just something. They just seem to. I'm not sure why I haven't smoked them, and I may well at some point, but I don't know. Hey Ben, 7 pipes is good. Yep, absolutely spot on, Philip. I did. The guy that wanted to buy this off me, I did say to him that there were issues with the pipe, but I would sell it as a seconds. You know, as long as I'm clear and tell him exactly what the issues are, then it's not such a problem. But I haven't decided yet if I want to sell it or not. Yeah, absolutely, Phil. Try to cover everybody. I've bought several pipes from you over the years, and my most recent one, which I haven't smoked yet, is here. A lovely billiard, classic shape, beautiful metalwork as always. Perfectly drilled, of course. 9mm. Oh, funny you should say that, Phil. I was just looking for it and I couldn't find it. That's why. Hey, Bona. Long time no speak. Yes, he smokes, absolutely. Gotta be honest. So what are you guys smoking at the moment? I need to reload. I've finished my bowl of Solani 131. And I could quite easily reload with the same tobacco, which I don't often say. But this is a tobacco I can smoke back to back quite happily. That is a nice range of tobaccos people are smoking. The Red Carolina, I've got some of that. I think it's quite nice. Anybody here tried the Cornell and Diehl 20th anniversary dark flake? Did you get any Lakeland flavour from it, Hollywood? I've been smoking this 20th anniversary Vapor Dark, in the dark rather, and I was enjoying it. But as I said before, I haven't had my full taste back after having the virus. And as it's coming back more, I'm tasting more of it. I'm not an Orientals Virginia fan yet. It's something I'm exploring at the moment. I've been exploring it just before, I started exploring it just before I got the virus. So I had to kind of knock it on the head because I can't taste that much. Well, I couldn't. I can now, but I couldn't at the time. Excuse me. So I had a bowl of this on Friday and it tasted Lakelandy. It really tasted like a Lakeland tobacco. I'm not sure if my palate is doing funny tricks, but do you get a Lakeland flavour? A very essency flavour in it, Hollywood? Excuse me. You didn't get Lakeland. I'm just thinking if I should try it again. Maybe something, I don't know, there was something weird. I think it was the 20th Vapor. The Dark Flake is the Vapor one, right? Thanks, Phil. Right, so I got a few tins of the Vapor, which Maui got for me very kindly. And I got this little sample of the light. It was originally supposed to be the light, but for some reason he got me the dark Maui. But this light tastes more like a classic Virginia. It's got some Orientals in there, but again, I haven't. You know what? I'm going to try it now because I hadn't really tasted it. We'll try it again now. It smells, the aroma is very classic, sort of lemony Virginia. Hey Andrew, how you doing? You didn't miss anything with the live video, Andrew. I ended up ballsing up a block and I had to call it a day. For some reason I went off axis and it was wobbling. It wasn't turning true, which has never happened to me before, but I think that there was too much meat on the block. I hadn't shaped it beforehand, so when I was turning it, I was having to go at it hammer and tongs, and I think I knocked it off its true axis. So I've only got myself to blame for that. The block is not a write-off because I hadn't drilled the draft hole, so I can trim it back to the end of the mortise and start again, hopefully. It'll just be a more stubby pipe. I mean, it was supposed to be a commission, supposed to be a Lovat, so now it probably can't be long enough in the shank to be a Lovat. But I can make a billiard out of it probably, hopefully. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ian knocked it out of the park. He did a gorgeous job on this. And I haven't yet got this tan colour. I like this tan colour. I don't know if this is the classic tan in the Fiebing's colour chart, but I would like to get this colour. But I've told Ian that I'm probably going to build up a 7-day set of this style, but in different shapes. So I've ordered another pipe from him tonight, earlier on. So it'll have the same dimensions, same colour, same finish, same ring, and same stem. So hopefully we'll build up a little 7-day set. Well, why don't you order one, Mike? You know, he normally says that you have to wait something like 8 weeks, but I think this one he had it done in 4, something like that. Oh, right, it was a Carolina Red Flake. Okay, I think the Carolina Red Flake I did enjoy. I'm just thinking if I maybe got confused and I actually hadn't tried this 20th anniversary one yet. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yeah, but Ian, he actually sent me an email tonight. He was very happy that I'd put it on the internet, his pipe, because he's had 3 orders for that pipe since. So he was quite chuffed. Alright, so I'm going to smoke it in my Boswell, which I converted to 9mm, and put one of my tortoise shell stems on. I've never really, with the exception maybe of one pipe of his, I mean I've had quite a number of his pipes over the few years. I've probably had about 10 pipes from him. And I think one pipe only I struggled to break in. All of them tasted great from the off. We'll let that dry out a bit longer. Invicta is a UK brand. I don't know if they're made here anymore, but I think they possibly are. This is a pipe I picked up recently, a Duncan Briars, which I share the stem across these. I have to make myself another one, but I converted this to 9mm last week or the week before, and you know, it also looks really good. And this was on eBay for, I think I bought it unsmoked for about £50. Absolute bargain. It's quite a large sized pipe as well. Drill is a fraction high as it comes into the bowl, but it doesn't seem to disturb the smoke. And it really smokes very well. It's been a long while since I've tried Balkan Sobrani. I think I have a tin or 2 in my cellar somewhere. But I've heard a lot about the Smoker's Haven exotic blend, which I would like to try one day, but I've never yet managed to snag a tin of it. But the Balkan Sobrani, as I recall, I did enjoy it, but it's not something which I felt desperate to sort of try again. But I dare say I will crack the tin again when I get the feel for some Latakia. Every so often I'll have some. I think the other day I had some special Latakia flake from Germain's, who actually make Bolton Sobrani, don't they? Oh really? They're retaining Bolton Sobrani. Interesting. All right, that's good to hear. Well, they probably. I mean, there is a lot of cross. A lot of the blends which you can get in the States under the Esoterica brand are quite similar to the JF Germain brand here in the UK. So, for instance, to me, to my palate, and so to Bed, which is an Esoterica brand, under the Esoterica brand but made by JF Germain, tastes very similar to the Royal Jersey Latakia mixture. I had a while when I enjoyed that stuff, but after a while, for some reason, it gave me heartburn. I don't know why. But the special Latakia flake, originally, when I first tried it, I thought it was close to Penzance, but it's actually not. It's the special Latakia flake is actually a really, really refined smoke. You get the right moisture, the right humidity, and the right mixture of Latakia and Virginia. The thing is that it's a real mottled flake. You know, they call Penzance a mottled flake, but special Latakia flake, I've done videos about this before, but the special Latakia flake, the way the Latakia is mixed into the Virginia, it's done in splotches. It's not blended as like you traditionally. So if you were to get a big cake, a slab in front of you, you'd see black splotches. It would be like a cow skin. So it's all, the white area would be all yellow, the Virginias, and the black splotches you'd see around the cake. And depending on the batch that you get, sometimes you can get a batch which is more Virginia than anything else, and you'll have a few little splotches of Latakia. And sometimes you can get a batch which is all black and just a little bit of Virginia. So you have to be lucky with that. So when I've ordered special Latakia flake from Sam at GQ Tobaccos, I always ask him to make sure that it's evenly balanced out, and he sometimes is, sometimes it isn't. When I remember to ask him, then I get a decent batch of it. Yeah, so that's the thing though, Phil. With special Latakia flake, I don't like rubbing it out too much because the Latakia is so brittle that it just becomes dust. So I'm very gentle with special Latakia flake. I don't rub it out too much. Hi, Serkan. It's really it's one of those tobaccos which, if you treat it well and you kind of prepare it right, it's a sublime smoke. And you know, on any given day, if I had the choice of Penzance or special Latakia flake, depending on my mood, I'd often go for the special Latakia flake. I haven't eaten enough, and I've got a little bit of a nick hit, so I might need to just grab a banana or something. A little bit of a feeling in the pit of my stomach. Well, pressed Bolton Sobrani, it's all made by the same company, so you could say vice versa, either way. Tea and biscuits, what? I do have a tea here, and I've just had a biscuit, and I think I'm going to have a banana, which is quite rich, so that'll hopefully sort me out. All the best, Phil. Thanks for joining. Is there anything better than the tobacco coming up to greet you when you light it for the first time? Oh. For me, Phil, I get that the most special aroma of any tobacco when I open a jar is Stonehaven. I don't smoke it that much, but I always make sure I've got some on hand. The aroma of a freshly opened, aged jar, not a tin, but a jar. Well, actually, now you probably will get tins, but because they're starting to do tins, Jermaine's. But if you've had some Stonehaven sitting in a jar for a few months without it being opened, you open that up. That's for me the champagne of all tobaccos. The aroma is such a beautiful, like a muscat wine, like a sweet table wine, and it's just delicious. Josh. Oh, you've got a tin, Andrew. That's good. I'd be interested to hear your opinion on it. Because as somebody who doesn't smoke aromatics generally, and I don't think you smoke aromatics very much, so it'd be interesting to hear what you think about it. I haven't tried the. I don't think I've tried the Solani with Perique, the Virginia with Perique. I've tried just the Virginia, which I think is the Silver Flake. Maybe that's got a bit of Kentucky in it as well. I can't remember. I've not really been a big fan of Solani tobaccos till now. And this is the first one really, and it's funny that it's an aromatic. Excuse me. Need to get rid of that banana taste. So this Light Flake, the 20th anniversary C&D, this is the one with the Oriental, right? This is a Boswell pipe from 2016. Beautiful shape, lovely rustication. And I used to smoke only Stonehaven in this. Stonehaven and RDF, which is virtually the same tobacco. Rich Dark Flake, JF Jermaine's. And I've said this many times. I spoke to Robert Jermaine and I asked him about the comparison between Rich Dark Flake and Stonehaven, and he told me they're the same tobacco. Just for legal reasons, licensing reasons in the States, there's some slight differences just to comply with licensing regulations, but essentially it's the same tobacco. And they've said the same about the 1820 Flake being the same as Penzance. The 1820 is very similar to look at it. The texture is very much the same, a crumble kind of cake. Yeah, so the Rich Dark Flake in America is probably going better because it's from the UK. That's probably the only reason why it's doing that. I've showed this recently. This is the 1820. This is from June last year. Just look at the colour of that. And that's not mould, that's just plume. It's amazing. You look further down the bowl, and that hasn't got the air, and the way this is, the air has affected this is just phenomenal. But I don't find this as rich as Penzance. I think this is like a Penzance light to my palate. Do you smoke Latakia blends, Phil? You want to try some of that 1820? I don't know what they do, but I mean, they are a little bit prone to mold as well, so you've got to be careful. And that's, I believe, why they've stopped making the packets, the pouches, and they're going to tins. They were having a lot of trouble with mold. But they do age very, very well. SF Navy Flake, who's SF? Yeah, their stuff just really ages fantastically. Oh, Samuel Garth, right. I've never really been a fan of Navy Flake. I've tried so many times. I don't get the rum. I just don't get it. I tried a Navy, I think it's this tin here. I bought a 100-gram tin from the Danish pipe shop. Is it 333? Yeah. So this is a Navy Flake. Well, it's not called a Navy Flake, but it's a rum topped Virginia-based tobacco. It's a nice flake tobacco, but I've never yet managed to get and understand and perceive and taste rum in any of these tobaccos. Cheers, Sea Smokes, all the best. Oh, it's been a good while since I've smoked 3 Nons. I've actually got a very old tin in my cellar, probably 25 years old. Dunhill Navy Rolls actually was at one time my favourite tobacco, but that's because it's a vapor. I didn't get the rum from it either. Okay. I've got some blending Perique in a pouch somewhere, which I got at Samuel Garth or Garth Hogarth. And I actually added it to a blend which I put together myself, and it was delicious. Very, very good. The Olé, you wouldn't want to smoke it on its own. It'll knock you for 6. The GQ Tobacco's Asquith mixture, which is a vapor, which has got a higher percentage of Perique than traditionally used in a blend. I think on average they usually put about somewhere between 5 and 7% in a vapor of Perique, but this one I think has double that or more, and it's a very nice tobacco. And I believe they use the same blending Perique from Garth Hogarth. So I bought a pouch of that Perique, and I've sprinkled it over blends from time to time, and it does give it a nice sweet, plummy spiciness. Ooh, beef, tongue, Merlot. Ooh, I'm sure I'll see pictures on Instagram in due course, Phil. Enjoy. Thanks for joining, Philip. Hopefully you'll get that package soon. Now this tobacco, this is the light 20th anniversary. It's tasting really nice. It's what I expected. It's got a little bit of an aroma to it, a little bit of an essence to it, in addition to the Virginias. And to me, that's what I would have expected. But the dark one, I don't know. I got a Lakeland flavour from it. Hi Orchard, how you doing? Well, I can't look at them because I'm recording on the phone. What is the time? It's 5 to 3 in the morning. I need to get horizontal, Phil, never mind vertical. After I got hit by the coronavirus, I said to myself, I'm going to start having a regular sleep pattern. It lasted till I was feeling better. While I was ill, I was falling asleep all the time. I was just sitting in the couch downstairs. Any time of the day I would drop off, nod off. At the moment I'm smoking a sample of Cornell & Deal's 20th anniversary Light Flake, which was sent to me by Mike, Briar Blues. A bit of a sadomasochist, are you, Meeks? When was that, Phil? It's the smoke. It's the it's Smoking Pipes. But isn't it made by C&D? I mean, isn't that all in one and the same thing? Ladisi. 3 years ago. Wow. Well, thank God not thank God that you got it, obviously, but at least you didn't get it now. If you'd have got it now, you wouldn't have had much of a chance, I don't think. There's unfortunately so many sad cases here in London, people that we know. There's a guy similar age to me who's been in a coma, induced coma, for something like 4 or 5 weeks already. And his wife's been called in more than once when things have gotten bad. But so far he's holding on. Good night, Phil. Just make sure you eat plenty beforehand, Meeks, and make sure you're near a bed. I'm definitely tasting more of this tobacco now, but I would say that it needs to still age. Apparently this stuff they found a whole batch of aged tobacco to make this stuff with, but I would say that it still needs to really it needs to settle. It needs to mellow out a bit. It's a bit rough around the edges. The flavors are there, but I find it a little bit rough around the edges. A little bit harsh. And it does need to just settle down. I reckon in a few years, in a jar as opposed to the tin, and it will be some really ace stuff. It's quite strong as well. It's quite full. My favourite pipe. That changes all the time. That's a very hard question. The pipes that I smoke the most tend to be the ones on my desk here. I've got other racks behind me, and I've got 2 or 3 drawers full of pipes, but I don't tend to smoke most of them. So the ones that I smoke generally tend to be the ones on my desk, and there's another 1 rack behind me which I also use fairly regularly. So it's very hard for me to say my favorite pipe. Having said that, I don't know why this one is there. This is a Radice, a very nice sandblasted Radice, but I hardly ever smoke it. I haven't really even broken it in yet, but I don't get a good smoke out of it. I've started using it for aromatics, and it's a little bit better. But this has been a bit of a revelation. So I've got 2 of these silver spigots. One of them is a a rusticated one, and this one is a smooth, which I not refurbished. I just resanded it, restained it, and just the top rim here was a little bit worn, so I sort of just straightened it all out, and it came out stunning. But it actually smokes very, very well. I mean, this pipe is brand new. I made it literally a few days ago, and I've been smoking it and thoroughly enjoying it, but somebody's bought it. I told him it smoked, but he wanted it. So that, as of earlier tonight, is sold. Actually, it needs to go with my pipes to be shipped. I don't have many Savinellis. At the moment, I think I've got 3. So I can't say I've got experience with all the ranges. When I first started smoking a pipe, my second pipe was a Savinelli, and I still have that pipe, a 606. And I smoked Blood Red Moon in that for quite a long time. And I've also got a Savinelli Autograph, sandblasted, a beautiful pipe, and that smokes fantastically. See if I can find it. So that's my 606, which is the Christmas from 2016, I think. So that was my second pipe that I ever bought, and it's in very nice condition, besides for a little bit of chatter. And it's got a deceptively large bowl. I think I remember smoking Blood Red Moon in a very relaxed state for easily an hour and a half with this bowl. This one was gifted to me by Peace Piper from Israel, from Tiberias. I fixed a pipe of his. He had a beautiful Peterson, a rare Peterson, which was completely blocked in the stem, and I sorted that out for him, and also just cleaned it up and polished it up, and he was delighted with the result, and he sent me this Savinelli, and I think this is quite a sought after stem, this one. This is a Marron Glace, and this one is one I bought on eBay as an estate. Got a phenomenal ring grain on it. It's an autograph and smokes very, very well. It's a G with the 2 lines through it means, if anybody knows. But those are my it's an autograph, so I don't know. It's just an autograph. Autographs generally tend to be freehand. They don't have model numbers. Blood Red Moon, Hollywood. Is it Gabriel, your name? When I first started, I was very much into the Dagners and Jay, his father, Jason's father. Yeah, I was just asking you if that was your name. So he smoked Blood Red Moon almost exclusively. And I was intrigued, and I bought a tin of it, and I absolutely loved it at the time. I was smoking mostly aromatics at the beginning, and I went through a lot of tins of that stuff. And I do smoke it still occasionally. I still have a couple of jars of it, a couple of tins of it. So that's what I smoked in this pipe, pretty much exclusively, and it's actually a really good aromatic tobacco. You know, amongst aromatics, it's very good. It's got a nice chocolatey cherry flavour, like Morello cherries. You know, the ones which have got a slight acidic note and a bright note to the cherries, the ones you get in the jar with the juice. And to me, it had that kind of flavour together with a bit of a chocolatey base. And that was what I smoked for a long time. Yeah, it is a bit artificial, the cherry, but it's pretty good. I don't remember if I mixed it with No Bite Delight. I might have done that as an experiment, because No Bite Delight was also one of my favourites from Boswell at the time as well. Hey WV, how you doing? Lone Star Patriot, how you doing? Yeah, this is one I made fairly recently. It's a bit of a mushroom, isn't it? Really nice looking pipe. It has some hidden issues, which is why I haven't sold it. But I mean, it's perfectly smokable. I may well fire it up one day. Hey, Horatio. Only bird's eye Batman indeed. Oh, it is cherry. Come on, Boner. It's got a very distinct cherry flavour. If I remember correctly, it's also quite cheap as well to buy. So that's definitely worth a try. Oh, you're talking about another blend, sorry. Jeffrey Feinberg, good morning to you. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Lone Star. All Golden Slice is a great tobacco. I haven't been able to get back onto it since I had the virus, because I'm not getting the usual flavours. But I will get back onto it, no doubt, in due course. Alright, people, it is now nearly 3:10 in the morning. So as Phil said, it's time to get horizontal. I'm going to wish you all well. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for joining me this evening. And so let's scroll through the list. Good night, Josh. Good night, Jeffrey. Good night, Boner. Good night, Lone Star. Good night, Andrew. Good night, Mike. Gamecock Piper. Hollywood Briar. Gabriel. And Sarah, thank you for joining. Lone Star Patriot. Horatio. WV. Meeks. And everybody else. I hope you're all well. I hope you will have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Boris the Piper. Hello. Didn't see you at all. Don't be shy. Next time, next Saturday, speak up. Say hello. Enjoy the virtual meetup. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and no doubt I will catch you on the very next one. I have another crack at that Lovat tomorrow, hopefully. Good night, everybody. Good night, Jim Bob. Kev, good night, Kev.